The sages throughout the Zelda series have been known to greatly be of use of help for Link's quest in sealing Ganon. They have many uses in a variety of roles in the series. In The Wind Waker, the sages Makar and Medley are of use by restoring the Master Sword back to its fully charged power. The same can be said for the sages' role in The Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. The sages in The Link to the Past sealed Ganon in the Dark World, while in Ocarina of Time, they sealed him in the Sacred Realm for about a millennia before the events of the Flood. With Breath of the Wild coming out very soon, we should ask ourselves, will the sages make a return in Hyrule once again? In order to answer that question, we need to make a reference to the Blade of Evil's Bane, the Master Sword. About every Zelda game that has a Master Sword also includes, or at least, references the sages. We know that the Master Sword makes a return because of the recent Nintendo Switch trailer revealed, so there is a very likely chance that the sages will make a reoccurrence in Breath of the Wild. With that said, I personally believe 100% that the sages will make a return in the Breath of the Wild. But who could the sages be, and what is their purpose in this game? Now, we don't have too much gameplay currently to predict all the sages, but I believe we can nitpick a few shown from the recent Nintendo Switch trailer. But keep in mind that not all Zelda games have 7 sages. In The Wind Waker, there were only 2. Also, the sages are consisted of a variety of races, pretty much most of the races in Hyrule. One of the first sages I believe this game might have is the Old Man. If you haven't seen my latest theory, it's about the Old Man being Ganondorf or the King of Hyrule, but I honestly think he could also be a sage. He is very informative and helpful towards Link and his quest when he awakes from his great 100-year slumber. He knows a lot about Hyrule's history, Calamity Ganon, and for some strange reason, he won't reveal his identity to Link, which means he must be someone special. I mean, just look at this guy. He's like 7 foot tall and looks like a trained warrior. There has to be something strange or special about him, right? Also, I don't see too many people pointing this out, but he looks very similar to the sage Rauru from Ocarina of Time, and he knows a lot about the Temple of Time and its history. And if we know anything about the Temple of Time, we know that Rauru built the Temple of Time to protect the Triforce. Sure, we don't see his owl form in this game, but if that were true, then the Old Man could be the Sage of Light, as both characters are of old age and always check up on Link. The second sage this game might feature is this particular Goron. I believe that this Goron is Joronia because of the many similar features. Just look at this Goron. Not a lot of Gorons have a beard like that. Plus, he has a Goron's Ruby, something that only the leader of the Gorons would have. This Goron must have lived for a very long time, and as we know already, Gorons are capable of living up to many years. Look at the Elder from Twilight Princess. Even if this isn't Joronia, I still believe he is a sage as he is shown in the Nintendo Switch trailer, gathering with other characters, who I believe could be the other sages for this game. But then again, the white fur he has might not indicate his old age, but rather he might be living in the mountains, who knows. Almost every major character in the Zelda series is a sage, accompanied with Link. As for the second sage, I believe it to be this woman, who I think is a Gerudo. Now at first I thought this could have been Nabooru, but this lady has green eyes, while Nabooru has orange eyes. The fact that we had a Nabooru sage in Ocarina of Time leads me to believe that another Gerudo sage has returned possibly. Possibly being the successor of Nabooru. This isn't uncommon and could very well be possible because in Wind Waker, Makar is related to his predecessor, Fado, and Medley is related to hers, which is Laruto, who is also related to Ruto. Also, the Nintendo Switch trailer has shown us a village with the Gerudo symbol in it, which may indicate this village being of the Gerudo tribe. We can see the outside area, which looks like a desert. We also see the return of what it looks like, perhaps a Goddess of the Sand statue, but I may be wrong. So I am certain that we may encounter a Gerudo sage in this game. As for the third sage, I believe that it could be any individual from this new race that is presented in Breath of the Wild. We know they aren't Rito, but many fans believe them to be Fokas or other bird races known throughout the Zelda series. If you noticed a few things about the characters, most of them are wearing some type of blue scarf, possibly giving emphasis on a new alliance with Link, or perhaps the new sages. Mostly, the third sage could possibly be this guy we see flying up, but I could be wrong. The person to the right of the Gerudo looks like the new bird race presented, but it could be something else. As for the fourth stage prediction, I believe one of the Zoras could be the Sage of Water. Almost every Zelda game with sages in it has had a Zora represent themselves as a Sage of Water. In the new trailer, we clearly get footage of Zoras and even a new Shark-Zora hybrid. I believe that this Zora shown in the trailer could possibly be the Sage of Water. There are fan theories stating that she could be the young Queen Rutella from Twilight Princess. Plus, this Zora has a Zora Sapphire, making her an even more special character. Another possible sage in this game that we could see would be a Sheikah. Since the Sheikah in this game are so persistent and important to the game's storyline and plot, we could be seeing the return of Impa, or another Sheikah character that we have not been yet introduced to. While the Sheikah are banished in this game according to the game's backstory recently discovered by fans, I still remain positive that we will see one of them become an important character, most likely a sage. It's also worth mentioning the shrines and seeing if they will have any impact towards the sages, as a lot of sages meditate and are supposed to stay in their respective temples, so it would be interesting if we see a connection. Finally, my last sage prediction is the most obvious. The one and only Princess of Hyrule, Princess Zelda. In Ocarina of Time, Zelda was revealed to be the 7th sage, the Sage of Time, and in A Link to the Past, she was almost a sacrifice to Ganon as a 7th maiden, so it could very well be possible for Zelda to be revealed as a sage during some point in the game. Now that I've discussed the possible sages in Breath of the Wild, let's discuss what the sages in this game could be of use for. In Ocarina of Time, the sages sealed Ganon into the Dark Realm, for a short time being. Since Calamity Ganon in this game is sealed in Hyrule Castle, I hope the sages are smart enough to do something else other than just seal him again, because by now, they should know that he will escape every seal no matter what. But maybe all the sages' powers and links could somehow kill Ganon. Also, the sages could possibly be of help with the Master Sword by praying for its power to be returned as we see the Blade of Evil's Bane not in its former glory. So it could very well be possible that the sages could play a role in restoring the full power to the Master Sword. I stated in one of my previous theories that the reason the Master Sword is seen rusted is because Calamity Ganon's evil is eating away at the sword, but it could very well be the lack of the sage's prayers as seen in Wind Waker. Also, the Wind Sage and Earth Sage did not appear in Skyward Sword. Zelda herself blesses the Master Sword into the true Master Sword. There is a similarity because she herself purified her body in the Skyview Spring and the Earth Spring to awaken her true self prior to this. It is also worth mentioning that the attributes granted to the Master Sword in the Wind Waker are similar to those granted to the Goddess Sword by 2 of the 3 sacred flames in Skyward Sword. The sharpness of its edge was increased both by the powers of Medley, the Earth Sage, and Farore's flame within the Ancient Cistern, while it was imbued with the power to repel evil by the Wind Sage Maikar, and by Dim's flame inside the Fire Sanctuary. Nayru's flame has no sage equivalent, as its only purpose was to increase the power of Fi, who is long dormant with a sword by the time the Wind Waker takes place. So this method of, you could say, sword evolution might just be used again. Another thing relating to the sages in this game could be talons. Now you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Well, the creators of this game did state that they were going to reuse a lot of elements from the first Zelda games. In the game Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, there were a lot of towns named after the sages. For example, some of the towns in the game consist of Ruto, Rauru, and Naburu. Imagine this Gerudo city right here being named Naburu, so it would be very interesting indeed if we did see a return in towns being named after the sages. After all, this game is much bigger than Skyrim, and there are a lot of towns in this game, with a few we have seen from the recent Nintendo Switch trailer. In conclusion, I believe that Nintendo will implement sages in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The Master Sword in Hyrule collapsing will surely need powerful individuals such as these. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my newest theory. I have a few more Breath of the Wild theories coming up, and after that I will be starting a new collab series called Item Analysis with Dr. Wily, in which we look at the lore and use of specific items in video games. I spent a lot of time making these series, so I would very much appreciate it if you guys would subscribe and like the video, and let me know whether you agree or disagree with this theory, or even came up with your own theory. Also, I recently made a Discord for this channel. If you guys would like to join my Discord, look in the description. Once again, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Zelda Conquer, signing out.